You want to know the truth? We're all racist. We all have unconscious biases that we have to overcome. Like, it's okay. What's good, y'all? It's your boy Spike Lindsay back in the building with another video. So, this week we're gonna do something a little different. I just want to talk to y'all about a lot of the controversy surrounding Lana Del Rey. Now, before we even start, this is not a gossip channel. I did not come here to diss her. You see the title, am a huge Lana Del Rey fan, and I just want to talk about some of the things that she has been saying affect people like this. You know what I'm saying? So it's just something I think it can be a learning exercise for all of us. And yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. Let's do this. Lana Del Rey earlier this week posted an album cover where under it she defended her inclusivity because most of the people on the cover were white or like white passing fair-skinned women. So she wanted, I guess, get ahead of the possible media storm that could come from that, because she's been a little bit of hot water for the last few months after releasing this letter where she mentioned a lot of non-white musical artists and kind of compared her success to theirs. And people didn't really like that. I'm not going to get too much into the first letter because honestly I didn't really care about that. I think that was more of a misunderstanding, but I will get into the next one, and I want to also get away from Lana Del Rey too, because this isn't really a video about her. It's kind of like more about inclusivity in general and things that we can all learn. So the problem to me isn't really the letter, it's more her reaction to the backlash, because it revealed kind of like, what the truth shall come to light. It revealed her heart. It revealed the problematic ways of thinking that she has, more in her how she responded to people getting upset about that. I just want to really highlight about 4 of her statements that she made in her newest post, because these are things I've heard all my life as people saying to defend themselves about saying they're not racist, when in fact the logic that you're using to say you're not racist is racist in itself. But I truly don't believe that she or these people realize that most of the time. So I'm just trying to educate a little bit. So, statement 1. Yes, there are people of color on this record's picture, and that's all I'll say about that, but thank you. My beautiful friend Valerie from Del Rio, Mexico, my dearest friend Alex, and my gorgeous friend Dakota Rain, as well as my sweetheart Tatiana. Every non-white person has heard this a million times, and at this point our eyes roll so far that we can see out the back of our head, because it doesn't even matter if you're white. Having friends that aren't a part of your racial cohort does not mean that you're not racist. It just means that you can tolerate them enough to associate with one of them. That's just the bare minimum of human compassion. I'm not going to congratulate anyone for that, and that's not where it should end. Look, even us as black people have to deal with ingrained self-hatred. We have colorism, hair texture discrimination, just generally thinking that we're less capable, less knowledgeable, and somehow more violent than white people. If we ourselves are still dealing with hatred against each other, then what makes you think that you can't have unconscious biases against other people just because you have a few friends that are of that race or gender or whatever? Look, I always say it like this. Racism is just like global warming. Just because you're fighting it doesn't mean you aren't also affected by it and also contributing to it. That's really hard for some people to understand. I understand it's a new concept, but it's the reality of it. So, statement number 2. In 11 years working, I have always been extremely inclusive without even trying to. So, I'm just going to read my response to this because I just like the way I wrote it, so bear with me for a second. If you aren't actively trying to fight your own unconscious biases and offset your privileges by questioning the opportunities that you have been so easily given, then you're not being inclusive. Look, inclusivity is not just about throwing some people in there that don't look like you whenever it benefits you. It's about actively seeing ways that you could possibly reach out to communities and people who have been marginalized and include them in your work, because if you don't, the default is that you will exclude them, which has been going on for centuries. It's about using your platform, no matter how big or small, to bring in those who have been unjustly cut out. So like, imagine if I had said, I've always been a very respectful man towards women and never made them feel uncomfortable or discriminated against them in any way. And I wasn't even trying. Well, the natural response to that is, well, if you weren't trying, then how do you know you're doing as well as you say you are, because you weren't even looking for areas to improve in? So statement number 3. My best friends are rappers, and my boyfriends have been rappers. Okay. I mean, what does you dating rappers have to do with anything? Are you trying to imply that like rappers are like the blackest of the black, so you dating them like means you can't be racist, or like because they're like the most black? Or are you trying to imply that all rappers are non-white when that's not the case? Basically, so often people think that enjoying your culture means they love you or your people, and that's just not the case. Loving is an active thing. It takes effort. Just because you listen to rap music doesn't mean you're not racist. Like, tolerating someone's art is not the same as accepting who they are. So statement number 4, the final one. So before you make comments again about a woman of color / person of color issue, I'm not the one storming the Capitol. I'm literally changing the world by putting my life and thoughts and love out there on the table 24/7. Respect that. So here she's basically saying, why are you making it about race? And look, if I had a penny, not even a dime or a nickel, if I had a penny for every time in my life I've heard a white person say, why are you making this about race? I'd be a billionaire. I could beat Jeff Bezos probably. Listen, our entire society is built on racism. I mean, come on. Colonization, slavery, Jim Crow, the genocide of Native Americans, the split up of Africa and the pillaging of its natural resources for hundreds of years. I mean, this entire society is literally built on mechanisms of racism. So therefore, racism has a part to play in every single one of our daily activities because it's built by it. So if you aren't trying to not be racist, you will be racist. Racism is the default. It's not an extra thing. It's what you naturally fall back on if you aren't trying to rise above it. Also, never compare yourself to people more racist than you. Like, that's a weird thing that I see a lot of people doing ever since I was a kid. Like, racism comes in many shapes and sizes. It's a spectrum. Like, just because you aren't storming the Capitol doesn't mean you're not racist or don't have work to do in your inclusivity. Like, once again, we're not going to reward you for doing the bare minimum. You shouldn't be storming the Capitol. I shouldn't be storming the Capitol. Nobody should be doing that. So how does that have anything to do with the conversation at hand here? You know, that reminds me so much of growing up. Like, people would be like, oh, there's a black president, there's no more racism. Oh, well, I mean, come on, like, it's not like y'all are slaves. Like, that was real racism. Oh, it's not the Holocaust. That was real racism. Like, listen, just because these atrocities aren't going on anymore doesn't mean we don't still have work to do. Like, why are you comparing it towards the bare minimum? No, we shouldn't be enslaving people. No, we shouldn't be storming the Capitol. But that doesn't mean we stop there. We always have more work to do. So why are we even bringing that up? Always remember that you can hold racist ideals and beliefs in your mind and your heart without putting them into law or acting on them consciously. But that unconscious belief and bias is going to affect your life. We all know that your unconscious mind probably has more effect on your life than your conscious one. So you don't think unconscious racism and bias has the same way? Come on now. Get out of my face with that, bro. So the too long didn't read version of this, if you're going to take away one thing, it's that we as black, Hispanic, Native American, Asian, whatever, and even white people, y'all can say this about y'all too. Nobody knows what it's like to be you other than y'all. So don't try to tell us what's racist or not. We have centuries of experience of being discriminated against. You don't think we know what it feels like? We're the experts of being discriminated against. We know that like the back of our hand. We know when you're discriminated against us when you don't even know it. How are you going to tell us? When we say, hey, this is problematic. Hey, this is racist. Hey, you know, you have some work to do. Don't argue us down about it because you don't know. You have no way of knowing. You've never experienced it. You never walked a day in our shoes. You don't know what's gonna offend us because you don't know. You're not us. Listen, I always like to do analogies. So like the same way that me as a man, right? If a woman tells me I've done something sexist or problematic, I need to shut up and listen to her because I don't know what it's like to be a woman. So I have no idea how that might have hurt you. So in that same regard, if someone of a different race, you don't even have to be white or black, it's just anything. If somebody of a different race says that you've offended them based on their race, you need to be quiet and listen to them because they're an expert at knowing what it's like to be discriminated against based on that race. I don't know, you don't know. It's really that simple. It's just about listening to people rather than being so quick to defend yourself, because you want to know the truth? We're all racist. We all have unconscious biases that we have to overcome. Like, it's okay. Like, I don't know what people think is going to happen if you just admit, I don't know everything about race. I could have things in my mind that I've learned that are problematic. Like, it's okay. Just admit it. Like, it's really not the end of the world. You'll grow and become a better person, and the world around you will grow and change. Like, nothing but good will come of it. It just takes a little humility. So yeah, to wrap it all up, I'm still a Lana Del Rey fan. Like, I'd still like to work with her someday as a producer or artist, you know what I'm saying? Go check out the music, you know? But basically, you know, it's like, what did I expect? We all have our own ways that we need to grow and learn about relating with each other. And race is just one of those things. Like, I did not expect your racial view to be completely perfect. But hopefully this video will like change or reach into somebody's mind or heart. But yeah, to reiterate, this is not to pile onto her. I don't want to see mean comments. I don't want to see mean comments directed to me from her mob. It's really just about having a greater conversation. Because on the flip side, this new album she could come out with, it could be all F Trump, Black Lives Matter. And we'd have to sit back and be like, you did that. My bad. Like, you had the plan all along. We just need to give you some patience. It could be like Jay-Z, how people are getting on him about not saying nothing about George Floyd. Meanwhile, he's behind the scenes paying for funerals and stuff like that. You never know. And even if not, you never know what somebody's doing behind the scenes. Not all my videos will be this heavy or controversial, but I do want to get to more of just a conversational style and just like talking with y'all, because y'all are beautiful people. And you know, the people of YouTube, you know, y'all got some interesting hot takes and thoughts, and I want to see funny comments. I want to see y'all. Tell me what y'all think. Like and subscribe. Yeah, and stick around. The next video is gonna be coming out next week, because I promised myself that I'm gonna do a video per week. Actually, you'll get one later this week because I already messed up. But yeah, all right, y'all. Love y'all. Bye.